Get super rich simple way vertical bar. The simple way to get rich full audiobook. Most people will work their entire lives and never become rich. Not because they are lazy, not because they are unlucky, and not because they didn't pray to earn enough. They will fail quietly, doing everything they were told was right. If money were the answer, then everyone with a job would be wealthy. If education were the answer, debt would not be normal. If hard work were the answer, exhaustion would be rewarded. But look around. The hardest workers are often the most stressed, and the richest people are rarely the busiest. This audiobook is not here to motivate you. Motivation fades. This is here to remove the invisible rules that keep most people stuck in the same financial place year after year. Rules you never agreed to. Rules you may not even realize you are following. Once you see them, you cannot unsee them. And once you understand how wealth actually works, chasing money feels childish, because money does not respond to effort. It responds to structure. Listen carefully. What you are about to hear is simple, but simple is dangerous, because if you truly understand it, you will never look at work, income, or money the same way again. Chapter 1. Why most people never get rich, and it's not because of money. Most people believe they are poor because they do not have enough money. They think, if I just had more money, my life would change. But this belief is exactly why most people never get rich. Money is not the problem. Money is only the result. If money were the real issue, then people who earn more would automatically become rich. But you already know that is not true. You see people with high salaries who are still stressed, still in debt, still living paycheck to paycheck. And you see others who started with almost nothing, yet quietly built wealth over time. The difference between them is not money. The difference is how they think, how they decide, and how they act. Most people grow up learning how to survive, not how to build wealth. From a young age, they are taught to follow rules, avoid risk, and seek comfort. They are trained to trade time for money and feel grateful for it. This way of thinking feels safe, but safety has a hidden cost. It keeps people small. A poor mindset focuses on protection. A rich mindset focuses on growth. Most people are obsessed with avoiding loss. They fear losing money, losing stability, losing approval. Because of this fear, they avoid opportunities that could change their life. They wait, they hesitate, they overthink, and while they are waiting for certainty, life moves on. Wealth never comes from certainty. Wealth comes from decision. Another reason most people never get rich is emotional spending. People do not spend money logically. They spend it emotionally. They buy things to feel better, to impress others, or to escape stress. Money becomes a temporary relief instead of a long-term tool. Rich people use money to buy freedom. Poor people use money to buy feelings. This is why income alone never creates wealth. Without control, more income only creates bigger problems, bigger expenses, bigger lifestyle, bigger stress. When money arrives in the hands of someone without discipline, it leaves just as quickly. Most people also believe wealth requires luck. They think rich people were born into the right family, met the right person, or got lucky at the right time. This belief is comforting because it removes responsibility. If wealth is luck, then failure is not their fault. But luck is not the foundation of wealth. Preparation is. Opportunities come to everyone. The difference is who is ready to recognize and act on them. Most people miss opportunities not because they are blind, but because they are scared. Scared to fail. Scared to look foolish. Scared to start small. Another hidden reason people never get rich is their relationship with time. Most people think short-term. They want fast results, quick wins, instant comfort. But wealth is built slowly, quietly, and consistently. The people who win are not smarter. They are more patient. Poor thinking asks, "What do I get now?" Rich thinking asks, "What does this become later?" Most people also confuse movement with progress. They stay busy, but they are not building anything. They work harder, not smarter. They fill their days with tasks that keep them occupied, but do not move them forward. Being busy feels productive, but building assets is productive. Finally, most people never get rich because they never change who they are. They try to change their income without changing their habits, their standards, and their identity. But wealth does not respond to wishes. It responds to alignment. You do not become rich by chasing money. You become rich by becoming the kind of person money stays with. This audiobook is not about tricks or shortcuts. It is about simplicity. It is about removing the beliefs that quietly keep you stuck. Once you understand that money follows mindset, skills, and systems, everything changes. This chapter is not meant to make you feel bad. It is meant to wake you up. Because the moment you realize money is not the problem, you stop waiting for rescue and start building your own way forward. And that is where real wealth begins. Chapter 2. Rich people keep life simple. Poor people make it complicated. Most people believe that getting rich requires doing more. More work, more hustle, more ideas, more pressure. But this belief quietly destroys focus. The truth is simple. Rich people do fewer things, but they do them better. Poor people try to do everything at once. Simplicity is not weakness. Simplicity is power. When life is complicated, energy is scattered, decisions become slow, progress becomes messy. People spend more time managing chaos than building anything meaningful. Rich people understand this early. They remove complexity wherever they find it. Not because they are lazy, but because complexity drains attention, and attention is the most valuable asset a human has. Poor thinking adds, rich thinking removes. Most people wake up overwhelmed before the day even begins. Too many goals, too many tabs open, too many plans that conflict with each other. They chase money while being pulled in 10 different directions. At the end of the day, they are tired but not fulfilled. Being busy feels productive, but busy often means unfocused. Rich people design simple days, simple priorities, simple rules. They decide what matters and ignore everything else. They understand that every yes costs something: time, energy, focus. And once those are gone, no amount of effort can replace them. Another reason simplicity creates wealth is decision-making. The more choices you have, the weaker your decisions become. Most people waste mental energy on small things: what to buy, what to wear, what to try next. By the time a real opportunity appears, they are already exhausted. Rich people remove small decisions. They save their thinking for big moves. You will notice this pattern everywhere. Successful people repeat routines. They limit options. They build systems that run without constant thought. This is not accidental. It is strategic. Poor people complicate money itself. They chase complex strategies, secret formulas, and shortcuts. They believe wealth must be difficult because they have never seen it done simply. So they look for complicated explanations that sound impressive but lead nowhere. Simple systems make money. Complex systems break. Another form of complication is emotional noise. Most people attach their emotions to every result. One good day, they feel confident. One bad day, they doubt everything. This emotional up and down destroys consistency. Rich people are emotionally boring. They do not overreact. They understand that progress is uneven but predictable over time. Instead of asking, "How do I feel today?" they ask, "What must be done today?" Simplicity also shows up in goals. Poor thinking wants many wins. Rich thinking wants one clear direction. When you chase multiple goals, none of them get enough energy to grow. When you focus on one, it compounds. One direction beats 10 attempts. Most people fear simplicity because it feels slow. They think if they are not doing more, they are falling behind. But speed without direction only gets you lost faster. Wealth grows quietly. Confusion is loud. This chapter is not asking you to quit everything. It is asking you to remove what does not serve your main goal. Wealth does not need your full life. It needs your focused attention. When you simplify your thinking, your actions become clearer. When your actions become clearer, money becomes predictable. The rich do not win because they know more. They win because they ignore more. And once you understand this, life becomes lighter, decisions become easier, and wealth stops feeling complicated. Because the simple path, repeated long enough, always wins. Chapter 3. Stop working harder. Start working once. Most people believe the solution to money problems is working harder. Longer hours, more effort, less rest. This belief feels logical. If effort created wealth, then exhaustion would be rewarded. But look around. The people who work the hardest are often the most tired, not the most free. Hard work alone does not create wealth. It only creates survival. When you trade time for money, your income is limited by the hours in your day. No matter how disciplined you are, you only have so much energy. Once the day ends, the income stops. This is why most people feel stuck. They are working inside a cage made of time. Rich people understand something very early. Time is the most expensive thing you own. Once it is gone, it never returns. So instead of selling time again and again, they build something once that continues to pay them. This is what leverage really means. Not tricks, not shortcuts, just multiplication. Working once means putting effort into something that can be used many times. A system, a skill, a product, a process. Instead of being paid for hours, you are paid for results. Poor thinking asks, "How many hours will this take?" Rich thinking asks, "How many times can this pay me?" Most people never make this shift because working once feels uncomfortable. At the beginning, there is no immediate reward, no instant payment, no applause, just effort without proof. This is where most people quit. They return to hourly work because it feels safe. They know if they show up, they get paid. But safety has a cost. It keeps income flat. Working once requires patience. But patience is what creates freedom. Think about the systems around you. Books, videos, software, businesses, courses, brands. All of them were created once, but they generate value again and again. The creator does not need to be present every time money is made. This is the invisible advantage rich people build. Another reason people stay stuck is they confuse motion with creation. They answer emails, attend meetings, run errands, and feel productive. But none of these create leverage. They only maintain activity. Maintenance keeps you busy. Creation sets you free. Working once also means choosing depth over repetition. Most people repeat low-value work forever. Rich people repeat high-value thinking until it becomes a system. They ask questions like, "How can this be automated? How can this be simplified? How can this reach more people without more effort? These questions change everything. This chapter is not telling you to stop working. It is telling you to stop wasting effort on work that dies at the end of the day. The goal is not more effort. The goal is lasting impact. When you build something that continues without you, your income separates from your time. And that is the moment money stops controlling your life. Work hard in the beginning, but only so you don't instead have to work hard forever. That is the power of working once. Chapter 4. The skill that prints money in any economy. Most people chase money. Rich people chase skills. Money comes and goes. Economies change. Jobs disappear. But a valuable skill follows you everywhere. It works in good times and bad times. It does not depend on luck or permission. This is why skills, not jobs, create real security. Most people are trained to be replaceable. They learn how to follow instructions, not how to create value. If their job disappears, their income disappears with it. This is not freedom. This is dependence. A high-value skill gives you options. When you have a skill that solves problems, people seek you out. You are not begging for opportunities. Opportunities come to you. And when demand follows you, income increases naturally. Poor thinking asks, how do I get paid more? Rich thinking asks, how do I become more valuable? The richest people in every industry have one thing in common. They are very good at one thing that matters. They did not master everything. They focused deeply on one skill and refined it until it became rare. Rarity creates income. Common skills create competition. Most people fail here because they chase too many skills at once. They start learning something, get bored, then jump to something new. They become average at many things and excellent at none. Average does not pay well. Rich people choose one skill and commit. They practice when others quit. They improve when others distract themselves. Over time, the gap becomes massive. This is not talent. This is consistency. The most powerful skills are not complicated. They are simple skills applied well. Skills like communication, selling, building, writing, problem-solving, leadership, and system thinking. These skills increase income, not because they are fancy, but because they create results. Money flows to results. Another reason skills create wealth is control. When you rely on a paycheck, someone else controls your income. When you rely on a skill, you control it. You can increase your income by improving your ability, not by waiting for permission. This shift changes how you see learning. Learning stops being a chore and becomes an investment. Every hour spent improving your skill multiplies future income. Skills compound. Jobs do not. Most people underestimate this. They want fast money, not lasting ability, but fast money fades. Skill stays. This chapter is not about choosing the perfect skill. It is about choosing a useful one and committing long enough for it to pay back many times over. You do not need to be special. You need to be useful. Once you own a valuable skill, money becomes predictable. Not easy, but predictable. And predictable income is the foundation of wealth. Skills are silent assets. They work even when no one is watching. And once you build one, the rest of this audiobook becomes possible. Chapter 5. Why saving will never make you rich, but it keeps you poor. From a young age, most people are taught the same rule: save your money, save for safety, save for emergencies, save for the future. Saving sounds responsible, and to a point, it is. But saving alone has never created wealth. It only creates comfort. Comfort is not freedom. When you save money, and do nothing with it, you are protecting the past, not building the future. The money just sits there, slowly losing value while life becomes more expensive. You feel safe, but nothing changes. Saving prevents disaster. It does not create growth. Most people believe saving is the opposite of risk, but there is a hidden risk in saving too much: stagnation. When money does not move, it does not multiply. It waits, and while it waits, time works against it. Rich people do not worship saving. They respect movement. They understand that money is a tool, not a trophy. Its job is to be used wisely, not wasted, but also not trapped. Poor thinking asks, how do I hold on to this? Rich thinking asks, how do I grow this? Another reason saving keeps people poor is emotional attachment. When someone saves every extra dollar, they become afraid to use it. They fear losing it. This fear stops learning, stops investing, and stops action. Fear freezes money. Action multiplies it. This does not mean rich people are reckless. They are careful, but not afraid. They know the difference between gambling and investing. Gambling is hoping, investing is understanding. Most people never learn this difference, so they avoid both. Saving also trains the wrong habit. It trains you to reduce life instead of expand it. You cut spending, delay joy, and restrict yourself, hoping one day it will be worth it. But wealth is not built by shrinking. It is built by growing capacity. Growth requires risk, controlled risk. Another problem with saving is inflation. Over time, the same amount of money buys less. So even if you save faithfully, you are quietly falling behind unless your money grows faster than prices. Rich people know this. That is why they focus on assets. Assets are things that produce value: skills, businesses, systems, ownership. These are what protect wealth, not savings accounts. This chapter is not telling you to stop saving completely. Everyone needs a safety cushion. But once safety is covered, saving more does nothing. Safety is the floor. Growth is the ceiling. Money that is never used will never reward you. Money that is invested wisely builds freedom. Wealth is not about how much you save. It is about how well you deploy what you have. Once you understand this, you stop fearing money and start directing it. And that shift alone puts you ahead of most people, because rich people do not hide money. They put it to work. Chapter 6. The quiet power of ownership. Most people spend their lives trying to get paid. Rich people spend their lives trying to own. Getting paid feels good in the moment. You do the work, you receive the money, and the cycle repeats. But once the work stops, the money stops too. This keeps people dependent on constant effort. Ownership breaks this cycle. When you own something, it works for you even when you are not present. It produces value without demanding your time every day. This is why ownership is quiet but powerful. Poor thinking asks, how much will I be paid? Rich thinking asks, what do I own? Most people never reach wealth because they never cross this line. They remain workers even when they earn well. They upgrade lifestyle instead of upgrading position. Ownership changes your position. Ownership does not always mean factories or buildings. It can be much simpler. Owning a skill that few have, owning a system you designed, owning content, a brand, an audience, a process, or a small business. What matters is control. When you do not own, you follow rules made by others. You depend on decisions you do not control. When something changes, you adjust. When you own, you decide. Control creates stability. Stability creates freedom. Most people avoid ownership because it feels risky. They prefer the comfort of predictability. But predictability is fragile. One decision, one change, one downturn can remove it. Ownership feels uncertain at first, but over time, it becomes the safest place to stand. Another reason ownership matters is compounding. Owned assets grow, they improve, they expand. The longer you hold them, the more powerful they become. Wages reset every month. Assets build momentum. Rich people are patient owners. They let time work in their favor. They understand that the first stage feels slow. There is effort without visible reward. But once momentum builds, results accelerate. Most people quit before this point. Ownership also changes how you think. You stop asking for permission. You stop waiting for validation. You think in terms of systems instead of tasks. You stop working inside life. You start shaping it. This chapter is not telling you to quit your job tomorrow. It is telling you to shift your direction. Begin moving from being paid for time to being rewarded for ownership. Even small ownership matters. It trains the mind. Once you experience income that arrives without direct effort, your perspective changes forever. You realize freedom is not about working less, it is about owning more. The quiet power of ownership is not loud. It does not announce itself. But over time, it separates those who struggle forever from those who quietly build lasting wealth. Chapter 7. The rich don't chase money. They attract it. Most people spend their lives chasing money. They run after higher pay, better deals, faster results. The harder they chase, the more exhausted they become. Chasing money feels logical, but it creates pressure, and pressure leads to bad decisions. When you are desperate for money, you lower standards, rush choices, and accept outcomes that trap you long-term. Money does not like desperation. Rich people understand something different. They focus on creating value. When value grows, money follows naturally. They do not beg for income. They position themselves so income arrives. Poor thinking asks, how can I get money from this? Rich thinking asks, how can I make this useful? Money is a response. It responds to usefulness. It responds to solving problems. The bigger and clearer the problem you solve, the more money flows toward you. This is why rich people spend time understanding people, markets, and needs. They listen more than they talk. They observe what is broken, slow, confusing, or painful, and then they fix it. Fixing problems attracts money. Most people never do this because they are focused inward. They ask what they want instead of what others need. This mindset limits income because money always comes from others. Income is outward. Value is external. Another reason people chase money is impatience. They want results before they build anything meaningful. But attraction requires preparation. It requires systems, skills, and trust. Trust attracts money more than effort. When people trust your work, your product, or your message, money flows easily. When they don't, no amount of effort can force it. Rich people build trust slowly. They deliver consistently. They do not overpromise. They allow results to speak. Poor people oversell. Rich people overdeliver. This chapter is also about alignment. When what you do helps people, money feels natural. When what you do only benefits yourself, money feels heavy and stressful. Aligned income lasts longer. Attraction also changes how you move. You stop running after opportunities and start choosing them. You stop reacting and start directing. Chasing makes you small. Attraction makes you selective. Most people never experience this shift because they never stop chasing long enough to build something worth attracting attention. This chapter is not telling you to ignore money. It is telling you to stop hunting it and start earning it through value. Once you understand this, income stops feeling like a fight. It becomes a byproduct. And when money becomes a byproduct of value, wealth becomes sustainable. Chapter 8. Why most people stay broke even when opportunities are everywhere. We live in a world full of opportunity. Information is everywhere. Tools are everywhere. Access has never been easier, yet most people remain stuck. This is confusing until you understand one truth. Opportunity does not reward awareness. It rewards action. Most people see opportunities, but they do nothing with them. They watch others succeed and wonder why it never happens to them. The answer is not intelligence or luck. It is hesitation. Hesitation kills wealth. People hesitate because of fear. Fear of failure. Fear of judgment. Fear of starting small. They imagine everything that could go wrong instead of what could go right. Fear feels responsible, but it is expensive. Another reason people stay broke is comfort. Even when life is difficult, it is familiar. Familiar pain feels safer than unfamiliar growth. So people stay where they are, hoping something changes without them changing. Comfort delays action. Most people also wait for permission. They wait for perfect timing, perfect knowledge, or perfect confidence. But perfect conditions never arrive. Rich people move while unsure. Poor people wait until ready. Waiting feels smart, but it hides avoidance. Action builds clarity. Thinking alone builds doubt. Another invisible trap is comparison. People see others winning and feel behind. This creates pressure instead of progress. Instead of starting, they quit mentally. Comparison steals focus. Focus builds momentum. Opportunities are often small at the beginning. They look unimpressive. They require learning, patience, and humility. Most people ignore them because they want something big and fast. Big rewards start small. Rich people understand this. They take small opportunities seriously. They build quietly. They let progress compound. Most people also overconsume information. They read, watch, and plan, but never execute. Learning becomes entertainment instead of transformation. Knowledge without action is noise. This chapter is not blaming you. It is revealing the pattern. Once you see it, you can step out of it. Opportunities are everywhere, but only the prepared act. When you stop waiting, stop comparing, and stop fearing small beginnings, the world opens up. Wealth does not belong to the smartest. It belongs to the movers. And movement changes everything. Chapter 9. Build one simple system that makes money while you sleep. Most people try to make money in many ways at the same time. They start one thing, abandon it, then chase another. This constant switching keeps income unstable and small. Wealth does not come from many attempts. It comes from one system done well. A system is something that works even when you are not actively involved. It does not require your full attention every day. It follows rules. It repeats, and over time, it improves. Poor thinking chases hustle. Rich thinking builds systems. Most people avoid building systems because they feel slow. At first, nothing seems to happen. There is effort, but no immediate reward. This is where patience matters. Systems pay later. Hustles pay now. Rich people are willing to delay reward. They understand that short-term sacrifice creates long-term freedom. They invest time up front so they can reclaim time later. Another mistake people make is overcomplicating systems. They believe something must be complex to work. But simple systems are stronger because they are easier to maintain. Simple scales, complex breaks. A strong system has three parts: creation, delivery, and repetition. Once these are in place, income becomes predictable. You are no longer guessing or hoping. You are building. Most people never reach this stage because they quit before repetition takes effect. They judge too early. They expect fast proof instead of long-term results. Consistency reveals power. When a system runs, it creates leverage. One action creates many results. One decision pays multiple times. This is how money begins to work without constant effort. This chapter is not telling you to find 10 income streams. That is noise. Focus on one system that fits your skill, your values, and your patience level. One system beats 10 distractions. Once your system works, life changes quietly. Stress reduces, time expands, choices increase. Money while you sleep is not magic. It is structure, and structure is what turns effort into freedom. Chapter 10. The rich get richer because they think long-term. Most people think in days and weeks. Rich people think in years and decades. This single difference changes everything. Short-term thinking focuses on comfort. It asks, how do I feel right now? Long-term thinking focuses on outcomes. It asks, where will this lead? Comfort feels good today, but it is expensive tomorrow. Most people quit too early because they judge progress too fast. They expect visible results before systems have time to work. When they don't see quick rewards, they assume failure and stop. Rich people stay calm during slow phases. They understand that growth happens quietly at first. Skills mature. Systems strengthen. Trust builds. Nothing looks impressive. Until suddenly it is. Time reveals effort. Another reason long-term thinking creates wealth is patience. Rich people delay gratification. They are willing to say no today for a bigger yes later. This is not discipline alone. It is clarity. When you know where you are going, waiting becomes easier. Most people spend future money in the present. They trade long-term freedom for short-term pleasure. Over time, this creates stress instead of security. Rich people reverse this. They invest in things that grow: skills, systems, ownership, relationships. These investments compound, meaning results increase faster over time. Compounding is quiet but powerful. This chapter is also about trust. Trust in process. Trust in consistency. Trust that doing the right thing repeatedly will produce results even when no one is watching. Most people need proof to continue. Rich people continue until proof arrives. Long-term thinking also removes emotional swings. Good days do not excite them too much. Bad days do not stop them. They measure progress over time, not moments. Stability creates strength. This audiobook is not promising fast riches. It is offering something better. A clear path. A simple way. A way that works because it aligns with how wealth actually grows. If you remember one thing, remember this. Wealth is not built by intensity. It is built by consistency. Think longer, move slower, build smarter, and over time, money stops being something you chase and becomes something that follows you. That is how the rich get richer. You don't sit need to rush after this ends. You don't sit need to feel pressure, and you don't sit need to prove anything to anyone. If this audiobook did its job, something already shifted. Not your bank balance, your direction. Most people will close this and go back to old patterns. Not because they didn't set understand, but because understanding without action feels comfortable. You are not here for comfort anymore. You now know that wealth is not loud, it is not chaotic, and it is not built by luck or endless effort. It is built quietly by people who think clearly, move patiently, and repeat simple actions long enough for time to do its work. Nothing in this audiobook asked you to become someone else. It asked you to remove what you were never meant to carry: the confusion, the hurry, the belief that more effort alone would save you. From this moment forward, your job is simple. Choose simplicity over noise. Choose ownership over approval. Choose long-term over instant relief. You don't need 10 plans. You need one direction. You don't need motivation every day. You need standards. And you don't need to feel ready. You need to begin. The world will not announce when it's your time. Opportunities once knock loudly. They appear quietly and reward those who are paying attention. So move slowly. Think longer. Build something that lasts. Years from now, when your life feels lighter, calmer, and more free, you unset. Remember the moment you got rich. You still remember the moment you stopped chasing and started building. And that moment is now.